Hey guys, how is it going? So I wanted to take a look at some ETP, all right? Now ETP has been a pretty hot coin right now. It's got a really good developer behind it, actually a great team behind it right now. They're one of the cryptocurrencies that has the biggest team with 70 staff members that are developing the coin. Well, that includes everybody from marketing, development, etc., right? But that's a huge team right now. And we're also talking about a coin that has Eric Gu in it. He was one of the co-founders of NEO. He left NEO and now he pursued his own blockchain technology. So let's talk a little bit about HitBTC. HitBTC announced that they would be listing, or not a listing, but it would be on the exchange on November 1st, right? And everybody obviously assumed it would be available for trading. But instead, what happened was they were having issues with the blockchain being listed on their exchange. So they delayed it, and what they tweeted on their page was that it would be a few days delay. Now, a few days could mean today, it could mean tomorrow, and this was on November 1st. It could be, today, it could be tomorrow, it could be next week even. So we don't really have a definitive time frame for when it's going to be listed. And because of that alone, guys, I mean, let's just use OmiziGo as an example, okay? So John for OmiziGo, he said he was going to give us a roadmap. Everybody was expecting some phenomenal news like they cured cancer. But because he just wrote a blog instead, it disappointed the market heavily. And we know what happened to OmiziGo. It dropped to like, I think a low of $5.70. Now don't get me wrong, that coin still has a lot of potential, but because everybody expected something different, unfortunately, people were, in the end, they were just heavily disappointed, right guys? And it goes the same with HitBTC. And we also have to factor in Bitfinex, where US customers will no longer be able to trade on it. And right now, ETP can only be traded on Bitfinex, right? So people are in frantic mode right now. They're panicking. They're just dumping their coins because they're unsure of when they can actually trade it again. The last thing they want is to have their ETP stuck on an exchange when they can't have access to it anymore. So people are definitely dumping their coins and holding it in cold storage on a private wallet right now, right? That kind of makes sense a little bit. And this point right here, we're going to talk about this specific point, okay? We're going to do a wave count first. This is wave 1, where it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And here we just keep getting an extended correction here, okay? I'm going to draw in the wave count as well so we can all see it very clearly. This is going to be A. This will most likely be a point B. And now I'm expecting a 1-to-1 ratio of that. I'm gonna guess it's gonna try to break into this previous support. This was a really strong support, guys. Take a look at this right here, okay? We had one that barely hit it, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6, right? And here it was actually reaching a really low RSI already. In fact, it bounced off of it. But look at what happened anyways, okay? This particular point right here, okay guys? Right here. We're going to zoom into it. Actually, I'm going to write this first of all. And I'm going to draw my Fibonacci levels so you guys can see it as well. Alright, so we're bouncing right here off of it already. But usually what happens is for an WXYZ correction is we'll get another wave down. So we're just going to take a 1-to-1 ratio of this exact one and assume it's going to bounce off of there. So honestly, I'm expecting it to drop even more, guys, because this is a horrible coin to trade right now, in my opinion. As a day trader, for me, it's not volatile enough right now, right? I mean, it's only swinging like a tiny bit every single day, and I don't want to trade a coin personally that doesn't have a lot of volatility when you compare it to a coin like EOS right now, okay? That coin is a pretty hot coin right now, as we all know already. Okay, sorry about that. I took a small break because I needed to tweet my video of shorting EOS. I shorted EOS right now from $1.25. It's already down 10 cents, and I put in a massive 25,000 coins. So I'm up, $2,500, I think. I gotta check later. It's crazy right now how everybody's making a lot of money right now. Anyways. Yeah, so EOS has my complete attention right now. I think it has the attention of most people right now. but I still want to take a look at ETP because it's a coin that I will be holding for fairly long term overall. I'm just waiting for another good buy opportunity right now, and I missed my buy opportunity right here. I'm just going to see if this is actually stabilized, and I'm going to see if this is actually going to play out first of all, okay? So this is basically what an extended WXYZ correction is. WXYZ, and this actually ends up being point C. This is actually really point Z right here, but we're going to call it just so you guys know, okay? So we are not in an uptrend at all, as you guys can tell, okay? We are absolutely not in an uptrend at all. In fact, we are parabolically coming down. And I'll explain what's going on. So right here, we're going to zoom in. This is when Bitcoin reached an all-time high again of $6,800 just on October 31st here, okay guys? Now, we knew that this point was actually going to hit, okay? We knew that this point right here was going to be a major resistance from doing X or B to X, and then we draw a line across it, and it couldn't break it, obviously, right? And the RSI on, for example, a 30-minute chart, actually we're going to go to like a 2-hour chart instead. On a 2-hour chart right here, it just couldn't peak above 85. Notice on an uptrend here, what kind of RSIs we're peaking at? Peaking like at 95 or so, right? So if it was the actual beginning of wave 2, people would be, what they would be doing, holy crap, EOS is down, oh, shit, is down so much, which is amazing because everybody's shorting the crap out of it. Anyways, sorry, I'm really distracted today. So because wave 2 didn't start from here all the way to up there, do you guys know what I mean? So wave 2 didn't start from here to up there, and because it didn't peak all the way to like really high RSI, then what ends up happening is, well, we start a WXY correction where W is here, X is here, and then Y is actually right over here along with point C. And then after Y finishes, okay, after Y finishes, we attempt to break out again to right here. But because and we use this point B, X, right? I'm just gonna try to find the line. There we go. We would expect it to break out as wave 2 right here, but because wave 2 didn't actually happen and the RSI just couldn't peak it and it couldn't break out of that resistance, well, down we go, right? And this also happens to be the exact same time that Bitcoin was rallying, and ETP's got a really good reputation for being dumped on. So people will trade ETP BTC pair, so they'll trade Metaverse Bitcoin pair, right? So what they do when they're trading that pair is if they see a Bitcoin rally, they'll just dump their ETP coins and they'll go into BTC during the rally, right? So they can hold it and make a lot more money that way. And unfortunately, that's exactly what happened. But what also didn't help was, let's see if we can actually see it. No, we don't see it here. What also didn't help was that Bitfinex went down for about 30 minutes and it caused even more panic. So what people ended up doing was, you know, they dumped it as soon as they logged on when they saw the Bitcoin rally, which caused a massive, massive decline, right? So it showed a decline of about 10%, right? And then what happened after that was we got a small rally right here, and we got that particular rally because we have many, many resistance points over here, okay? I apologize for being somewhat scatterbrained. My focus right now is entirely on EOS, as you guys probably know, because that EOS, if you guys haven't checked it out yet, get your asses on it right now, okay? $1 billion of new money has been put into EOS, okay? They're at $700 million right now being raised, and their target is several billion dollars, okay? And they call it the Ethereum killer, guys. Transaction time is ridiculous compared to, I can't even get into the technology, but in mid-July, that's when their blockchain is actually going to be launched. And yeah, like we're expecting some ridiculous prices right now for EOS in the future. But ETP is also one of those coins because of their team, and it's got lots of potential down the road. It's a competitor with NEO, right? And if NEO can achieve those kind of target prices of $40, $50 in 4 or 5 months, I don't see why NEO couldn't, or why ETP couldn't do it either, because it really is a hot coin. So anyways, so right there, right, we got 1 resistance, 2, we got 3 resistances, or supports rather, pretty major points. So I actually entered a long position right here, and I closed it just on time because I anticipated a bounce. And everybody should always play a bounce off of it. There's always going to be a slight bounce, you know, because people are going to be panicked. And then right here, if you guys notice the date, okay? Right around here, if you notice the date, just on the bottom, or right around here, okay? Look on the bottom right there. The date was like Halloween, right? It was, you know, October 31st. And that's when Metaverse also started tweeting about how it was going to be delayed on the exchange, right? So we bounced off of the resistance slightly, and surely enough, because the market sentiment was bearish, right? It's like, holy fuck, these guys are we expected them to list it on November 1st. It's going to be delayed. There's a lot of other coins that are doing well. Bitcoin started rallying again. EOS started pumping like 100%, guys. It went up in like a day and a half from 50 cents to $1, guys. That's how crazy that is. Like, that's what we're talking about, okay? So everyone naturally wanted to get out of the ETP market when Bitcoin's rallying, and then they just ended up dumping even more when the bad news came, right? Which surely enough shot it down to the 618 level of Fibonacci. So when we take Fibonacci, all that we're doing is taking from point right here to the highest one. We take Fibonacci, Fibonacci, Fibonacci from the lowest point to the highest point. I always break out randomly, as you guys know already, right? And then we see that it retraced down. This was the perfect 50% level, right? And here's a 618 level where it's just hovering around it. If we go to, for example, a daily chart instead, what we'll see is just probably a long wick. There you go. We see a long wick that supports it right here, okay, guys? And this candle hasn't actually closed yet, right? But we see a dragonfly doji. And let me show you guys what a dragonfly doji is. A dragonfly doji looks like this, okay? And it's a very strong signal for a reversal. And when this candle closes in the next 5 hours, we're going to see a massive rally, because this is the candle that you want. It is the absolute candle that you want to signal a reversal. There's no candle better than it other than like an inverted hammer. And we're also seeing the volume go up already right now, okay? Look at that heavy volume. So what I'm expecting for it to do very soon, and this is on a 3-hour chart, for example, and we're already seeing the rally. So those that got in at $2.78, congratulations, because that's a massive jump already. It has already gone up 25% in the past 12 hours there. So this is absolutely an extended correction where we have now an 11 wave count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, okay? And you know, don't get me wrong, these waves could absolutely be skipped, right? And we can just continue up to an uptrend instead now. Sometimes it can possibly happen, but what's more likely to happen is it's going to test this resistance area and just complete the psychological correction, right? This takes into consideration everything Elliot Wave, okay? And usually it doesn't skip it, but it could if the market is strong enough. So we see a really nice bounce off of the 618 Fibonacci level. It broke it slightly for a few hours, but once again, if we look on the daily chart, right, we see that dragonfly doji form already. And as soon as this market, the daily candle closes in about 5.5 hours, we're going to see a really big rally to about 380, I think, okay? That is what I absolutely think is going to happen there. So let's, for example, take Fibonacci extension right here. If we take our Fibonacci extension from where X is, from where A is right here, and then we go to our other X area, if you guys notice, we actually hit a 1-to-1 target ratio. Now, a 1-to-1 target ratio just simply means this. If this was a 1 range, like, you know, 100%, when we get to the highest point, X right here, it also goes down the exact same amount, if you notice, right? Basically a 1-to-1 exact ratio that it did right there. And that is how we target it. So let's say that it actually reached this point right here. We're going to do the exact same thing from X to A to B, okay? Now X to A to B, If that actually ended up happening, guys, we are going to actually retrace all the way down to the 786 level, which is highly possible. So don't discount that for a moment, okay? Don't discount it for a moment that it's not possible, because it absolutely is possible. Now I'm going to do that again from X to A to B, and it's not coincidental, guys, that this is the 786 level for X to A to B, and also the 786 Fibonacci level to here as well, okay? Until ETP releases some crazy news, guys, you can expect nothing but another XYZ correction, okay? So that's just how it is. And then once this is done, if it does reach $2.35, we're going to see a pretty big rally, because that now marks the end of a WXYZ correction, and it could absolutely start breaking out to the uptrend. Now, if that were the bottom, what kind of targets could we expect long term, okay? Now I'm just going to draw it to the 786 level right here. Well, the first target that we would shoot for is, of course, the 0.5 Fibonacci level, just to break it at first, right? Or not the, yeah, that is the 0.5. Actually, let's draw it in here more. So right here, this would be one of the first targets that it would try to break. But more realistically, it would have to break this resistance line first, okay? So if we actually drew in a box, for example, so there are a lot of different cases where it could hit. It could hit somewhere like right there if it were to come to here. But keep in mind, guys, that the first attempt will always be the resistance line right here. This is what it's going to try to break right now, okay? That is the first one it's going to try to break. Every time it reaches a new low, of course, they're always going to try to go into a new wave, right? Which will break the corrective pattern and go into an uptrend. But we can also assume that the trend will still continue and finish its intended correction based on a lot of theories. So the first zone that it would try to break is there. If it does not break it, 100% guaranteed it will most likely come down to here, just based on a lot of indicators. And then if it actually gets to this zone right here, let's just assume it goes to right here, all right? If it goes to right there, we're going to assume that this is the low, and it's now going to shoot to break this one still, all right? Okay, let's assume that it breaks it. Sorry, I'll take that back. Let's assume that this breaks it, and that's the new low, okay? Right around the 618 fib level. Then the first target is usually a one-to-one target if it continues for an uptrend. So we could be looking at anywhere between $7.91. But let's say now that it does not actually break that target, and it does not break it, then it'll come down to here. Then realistically, the next target would probably be right around here. But before it actually hits this target, it needs to break this specific area first. This used to be a strong support, but now it is a resistance, right? Really strong resistance right now, and it needs to break this resistance. And then once it breaks this resistance, this is a second resistance area that it needs to break. Okay, so we're taking 3 points, B, X, and this other X right here. So there's a good chance that it'll just go up like this first, right? Most likely to where the apex is, around that area. Same point as right here, where if it hit A, then it went up to B right there. So these are some key points that you guys have to make note of that I'm annotating, okay? This is a major resistance line, and I'll say that again. Major. It's such a big resistance right now because of how many supports it formed before. What used to be a major support always turns into a major resistance once it's broken. But let's say that we do break that. Let's say we broke it from here, then a possible target, well, we'd have to break this one as well, right? If this one gets broken, then we have to break this resistance zone. And then if this continues to uptrend from here, we'll most likely hit a target of there. If it does not, it will simply just come right back down to the 1-to-1 ratio. And then if it does break this particular area, then we could see it hitting somewhere there. So my personal targets, if I were to enter a trade, would probably be anywhere between here to here. Let's say you guys are okay with a dip, you know? Honestly, now is a really good time to enter. You guys are seeing that Dragonfly Doji already. In fact, you might even be seeing a hammer now instead. It's slowly turning into a hammer. Let me show you guys what a hammer candle is. This is a hammer candle right here, which signals a reversal, okay? Hammer is an incredibly powerful candle. When you see it at the bottom of a daily, super strong right there. Now what we're going to try to do is, can we see any other resistance or support points? Let's go to like a 3-hour, I like 3-hour charts, okay? Yeah, we do see a little bit of resistance or support areas right there as well, right? So that's not a bad place to assume that it might be the bottom right here. So this is absolutely uptrending right now, but let's take a look at it closer to see what's going on and to see what kind of wave count we're doing. Usually when it goes to X to A and then to B, there would be a 3-wave corrective pattern in there. Let's see if we can see it in another one. So A to B we're talking about, right? For example, right here, A to B, okay? A to B, we only have a 3-wave corrective pattern, like that, A, B, and C. Do you guys see that? For example, here as well, okay? It's very clear, A, B, and then C, okay? We take the highest high, next low, and then the next high. So there's no doubt in my mind that this one will try to do an ABC correction. See, we're probably going to see high RSI already on some charts. Yeah, it's getting pretty high already, as we can see. So we should absolutely expect something like an ABC correction in here as well, definitely. Something like this, and it will test the resistance line. But once again, if it breaks through it entirely, we will now test this previous resistance line from B to X right here. So I'm actually considering entering a trade on the next dip to right here, and then probably just ride it. Let's say I ended up going on a long position from right here. It's very short term, but it's probably a high risk to reward. So high risk, pretty low reward, because we can assume that it will make the ABC correction. So let's say you entered a trade on the next dip coming down right here. You'd probably be looking at a trade risk reward ratio of 4.1, which is phenomenal, right? Even if it doesn't break it, that's fine if it doesn't break it. No problem at all. The point is you're entering on the next dip, right? And then you're attempting to break it. And if it doesn't break it, that's okay. You can close and take your profit right there. But now, if it does not break it, then you'll definitely want to enter a short position, right? You want to enter a short position, and you want to target this area right here. You want to target, because it didn't break it, set your stop loss slightly above it. Then you want to target a 1-to-1 ratio of basically down over here. Oh, that wasn't right. I gotta drop my Fibonacci again. Yeah, this was actually right here. I undershot it. So the 1-to-1 is actually right over here of that one. My bad. So we could be even looking at my bad, $1.96 right here, okay? If it went to a 1-to-1 ratio. So you guys would be looking at a risk reward ratio of 16.42 to 1. Once again, if it does not break this resistance line, definitely want to consider entering a short, okay? Because you know it tried, and then you want to target 1-to-1 ratio using Fibonacci extensions from this point to this point, and that's a risk to reward ratio of 10.51, guys, with a possible gain of almost 50%. So that's kind of where we are at right now. And if I were to draw Elliot Wave, I would draw it like here, 2 and 3, and then we get double bottom 4, 5 right here. So that's the Elliot Wave count for that. And I don't think there's much more to summarize. I've touched on this a few days ago as well. Let's look at the MACD though, okay guys? The MACD on the 1-hour chart during the Bitcoin rally, like I mentioned, people love to dump ETP. ETP is one of the most favorite coins to dump. So I'll be back in 1 second. I'm back. I know it's only a few seconds to you guys, but it was like a minute and a half to me. I just need to check on EOS coin. So I don't even remember where I was at. Yeah, so the RSI is definitely diverging parabolically, actually. parabolically because it wants to try to break this point right here first, okay, for their A wave. If it breaks it, there won't even be an A, B, and C. It's just gonna, this point right here, it might end up being A instead, okay? This point, actually, if it does break it, usually what will happen is people will take profit when it slightly breaks it, okay? And then if it doesn't break this one right here, this one will actually end up being point B. And then if it doesn't break this one, we're gonna test this resistance or this support right here. So once again, if it breaks this, we'll try to break this resistance right here, and this will now turn to a support. And if it can't break it, it's gonna come down, test this right here. If it can't stay stable, then it's gonna end up dropping down to a different ratio, and we're gonna also take that into account right here. Fibonacci extension from X to A, then to B, and then we're actually, if this part doesn't hold, we'll get a new one going all the way to $2.57. So those are the different scenarios that can happen. So those entering a trade, good luck, guys. Actually, sorry, I should probably look at some more relative strength index, right? On the relative strength index, we can't even break right now 85 RSI. You know, that's not really the best sign. They just bought it up to like 55 and someone just dumped it severely right now, and that's definitely not a good sign there. So that's crazy that someone dumped it that much. We need to break some crazy RSI of like around 85, 90 in order for it to be considered an uptrend. So do I think it's going to break it? I don't think it's going to break it, to be honest. I think that support is going to hold, or that resistance is going to hold pretty strong, because we just can't get into a really, really bullish RSI right now. So this concludes my November 2nd ETP update. Good luck with it. People that have entered a trade, I will most likely buy it if it bounces back down here to around the, say, 324 level. And here it will make the ABC correction like this. ABC, for example, right? If it makes the ABC correction, I'll try to buy it on a dip around 324 right here. And I will see if it tries to break this resistance around 375. On that, good luck, guys, and have a great day.